Well, I can't believe I'm actually talking properly to Carol Klein on her birthday. So many happy returns to you, Carol.
Thank you very much. I'm not promising that I'm going to be talking properly. Might be improperly.
Absolute delight to talk to you, and the doyen of propagation of TV for God knows how many years on horticulture, and it's. You've done everything in horticulture. You were a teacher, and that's very, very close to your heart. And you've had your nursery. You've won a whole load of golds at various horticultural shows run by the RHS. Glebe Cottage Plants down in Devon. And I gather you've now got another bit of ground, or you're going to be starting up a new project and garden again.
Well, yeah. It's pie in the sky at the moment, but a few years, because we live in Glebe Cottage, which means it belonged to the church at one time.
Right.
But the land around us was owned by the church, but rented out.
Okay.
And then just a few years ago, they decided they were going to sell part of the land, and the field right next door to us was part of that. So we bought it,
right,
and we spent every penny we'd got on it. So much so that we got no money to do anything with it. But I've got big plans about what I want to do. Not just what I want to do, but what I want it to become.
Yeah.
So the usual things, we'd love to plant a wildlife meadow. We'd love to replace the copse which was ripped out years ago, and some of the trees.
Right.
Because when we went there, in the field opposite us, there were loads of trees, but eventually they've all been torn out. And we'd like to involve kids.
Because that's one of your passions, and my passions too, is we desperately need youngsters in the industry. And
we need youngsters in the industry, but much more than that. I think we need kids in general to actually, begin to, well, I think a lot of them do already, but begin to get the experience of actually dealing with soil and plants and
seeds, and watching it all grow and go really excited when it all comes up.
Yeah, because it isn't just on that sort of mini level of, personal sort of fulfillment and but it's also, I think, through doing that you begin to see your place in the world and realise your importance to the world, and the importance of how you behave, what you do, and you develop a respect for nature. And more than anything, which is not a thing that a lot of our generation have done, you actually begin to see that you can change something.
Yes.
So, I know that's big philosophically, but
it is
but
so
great
important.
oaks from little acorns grow.
Very much so. And I couldn't be more excited about your passion for it, and that you've still got it, and we love you for it too. But it's so that's a major thing, because you've sort of kicked off and said that you're stirring it up a bit, aren't you? A bit, trying to get things changed with.
I would never do that.
with the schools to try and get them to get the.
Well, I think that government ought to
exactly from the top
take
down.
a part. I think it's. I think it's absolutely central that they just see and realise the importance. The only trouble is that nearly all the decisions that governments make, whichever colour, is all to do with the bottom line.
Yeah.
There's just too much attention paid to what's it going to do for us. How's it going to increase dosh, really, the money we've got. And hasn't the COVID epidemic taught us anything if it hasn't taught us that that's not the most important thing?
No.
The most important thing is looking after our planet.
Yeah.
So, a few practical suggestions that the government starts to implement schemes where it's encouraging local councils and, more importantly, financing them to provide community gardens so everybody gets a chance.
And the schools, that it's taught at secondary school as well.
Yeah.
Would be awesome. It's, in a lot of the primary schools, and there's a lot of work happening in the communities, but it's not, it seems to stop, doesn't it?
Yeah, because it's because frankly it's not taken seriously. Because again, it's to do with, can you do maths? You know, what's your literacy? What's your numeracy? Yeah, those are important, but they're not as important as appreciating where you live and actually trying to play your part in the future, really.
You've got this lovely new programme, well, it's the second series, I think, of going around the country and visiting gardens on Channel 5.
It's called Great British Gardens Through the Seasons, and I think it says with Carol Klein, but you knew that anyway. But what a wonderful privilege it's been. We did 4 gardens. I mean, it's very enterprising of Channel 5, I think, it really is. And I think it's good for them too, because I don't mean it's got gravitas, but, you know, it's a really, really smashing programme that...
It's proper gardening.
It is. It's proper gardening, but it's also really finding out about these different places and using the experience of all these wonderful people that we meet. Because you don't get a brilliant garden without having wonderful people who are totally full of love for, you know, that place.
And they understand the soil, they understand the parameters they're working with and the weather conditions, you know, whether they're really dry or it's salt spray, or, you know, they're in a valley where they've got acidic soil or alkaline soil. It's you know, it is a joy. And you know, you get to, and something I'd love to do is to get round and have the time to be able to visit some gardens. I was down at Rosie Hardy's a few weeks ago and Rob's, looking at their garden and nursery down there and what they set up, and then also went on to Yeo Organics, and what a garden they've put in down there, and 6-acre organic garden. It was stunning, absolutely stunning. Yeah. And that's obviously what you want to do down at Glebe. Or perhaps not on that sort of, you know, a bit more rustic, perhaps.
Probably nothing. No, I don't think it's got to be rustic. I think it can be very modern in outlook. Yeah. But perhaps not. I mean, for a start, it's not a commercial proposition. Yeah. You know, I've never made good money out of anything at all, and I'm quite good at spending it too, except I nearly always spend it on plants and a bit on earrings.
Oh right, okay. And aren't there some fabulous plants here?
Oh, it's
Have you
fantastic.
Bought anything yet or found anything? You've been very good.
I've got my eye on all sorts of things, I really have. But I'm also thinking about stuff that's going to come in for autumn. Because the other programme, carry on. To give myself a plug, or us, and Channel 5. We've done these programmes called Gardening with Carol Klein, so it's just in our garden at Glebe Cottage. We did 2 last year that were shown earlier this year. We've done 5 in the sort of late spring, early summer, and we're going to do 5 more in the autumn. So I'm on the lookout for stuff that's going to do really well then. Not that it's all about
propagating or everything.
Everything.
Okay.
Absolutely everything.
Good doing plants for the autumn.
Yeah, and I'm on the lookout for bulbs, good bulbs that you know, they're not quite in the shops yet, but you might find a few of them here already.
I saw hearts are here.
Yeah.
But the daffs and narcissi and all that lot will be in the garden centres early August.
Yeah, early August. I'm going to start thinking about what we're going to grow. But what we have already planted are what's the lovely Yorkshire nursery? Oh, I'm so sorry.
That's all right.
I can picture him
Yorkshire
now.
nursery.
Anyway, Agapanthus.
Oh yes.
But we've got amarines from them, so that's a cross between amaryllis
and a nerine.
And nerines.
All right.
And they're hardier than amaryllis. And some of the nerines too. But they're supposed to be really good, and they've got big, beautiful flowers. So
and the old crinums. The crinums have a huge flower, don't they?
But and scented.
And they are. And sometimes they're difficult to actually get into flower.
Yeah, but Christo at Great Dixter, he used to grow some in the water. Because when he was in the army and he was in Africa, and I've forgotten which country it was, but he'd actually seen them growing in water.
Crinums in water?
Yeah, crinums in water.
Oh,
And
I always they thought they needed a dry, sunny position.
well, I think
Got that wrong then, didn't I?
No. We when we did this Great British Gardens the first time at Dixter, we actually took this great big lump and
The bulbs are huge, aren't they?
Yeah, put it into the edge of the water, and I think it's flowered successfully, but I don't know. But Fergus sent me
Yes, Fergus
Dixter,
Garrett.
yeah, sent me a little note the other day on Instagram saying that the orchids there this year are absolutely wonderful, and he just said, you know, Christo would be smiling.
Oh, that's nice. And what a character he was,
Yeah, and what
Mr.
a character!
Christopher Lloyd.
What a character Fergus is too.
He is. Oh yeah.
And
Well,
what a brilliant job he's done there.
he has. It is stunning. So if you ever get a chance, go to Great Dixter Gardens in Sussex. A couple of years ago or so, I can't remember when it was. It was a lovely moment I saw you when you were given a Lifetime Achievement Award at the Garden Media Guilds. And it was so wonderful to see all your peers and everybody involved in horticulture, standing ovation for you, and my God, you deserve it.
Oh well, I don't know about that.
No,
I really don't. It's a great honour, really. I mean, really. Because,
and you got your VMH as well.
Yeah.
So what's happening over the next few weeks? Are you doing more filming? Are you at Hampton Court?
We're at Hampton Court, followed by Tatton Park.
Right.
Doing an extra day in the summer, so we've got a link between this spring series and the autumn one.
Right.
And then we're moving into
Chelsea in September, I suppose.
yeah, Chelsea in September, and either side of it, we're filming for this. You know, the
Channel
Glebe
5.
Cottage.
Oh, Glebe Cottage. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Busy girl.
And I'm writing. I write anyway. I write for Garden News and I write for Gardeners World magazine. Sorry, I forgot what it's called. Don't tell them.
No, it's all right. No problem
And I'm
at all.
going to write a book.
And what's it
Yes.
going to be about? Dare we ask? Or are you
Well-
going to keep it stum at the moment?
Yeah. But
All
I
right.
think there might be quite a few plants in there, don't you?
And I think John might be featuring it somewhere along the line. I think he's going to be coming down and giving you some advice on the old meadow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Aren't I lucky?
Yeah, that's
Nothing
lovely.
but the best.
And I tell you what, there's nothing, it gives me an enormous amount of pleasure. I was talking earlier that a whole load of my customers have got, some of them have got quite large gardens. And we did the no mow May, it's no mow June, it's no mow July, and it's just full of grass.
Oh, excuse me.
Right, we've got to go. Thank you, Carol,
Sorry.
so much. Been summoned.